Welcome everybody to a Pokemon Legends ZA video. It's me, Ketsu, and today we're going to be talking about how to rank up quickly in the Pokemon Legends ZA ranked battle system. So of course there's a whole new different battle mechanic, there's a whole new different play out there, and of course everybody wants the Greninjite, everybody wants the Delphoxite and the Chestnutite when that comes out eventually down the line. But don't worry, we've got you covered on at least how to get to rank K super quickly within Legends ZA. It's not that difficult, and trust me, you don't want to miss this one. So if you guys like this type of content, let me know by leaving a like down below and maybe hitting that subscribe button, helps me out a ton. But let's start things off with who exactly you're bringing. So the whole concept is that you are only allowed 3 Pokemon at a time going into these rank battles. You can't really do much outside of that, so you got to kind of build your team to compensate for each other very well. So whenever I play the rank system, I try and go for a nice type triangle that kind of compensates for each other. Anybody that plays VGC or at least has some good depth of Pokemon at least knows the type triangles are a nice way to kind of compensate for your own Pokemon's weaknesses. So for example, Fire, Water, Grass, things like Flying, Fighting, Rock, things like Dragon, Fairy, Steel, all of these are really good triangles that can help compensate for each of their weaknesses, and is really good considering that you are only allowed 3 max Pokemon during this time. So a trio that I've been liking a lot lately is Feraligatr, Chandelure, and Chestnut. These 3 work very well together. It's a Fire, Water, Grass core. Again, really good offensively, really good defensively, can help cover for a lot of different things. Chestnut being a fighting type can cover the dark types that Chandelure's weak to. Chandelure covering, you know, all the grass types that Feraligatr is weak to, etc. You know what we're going for. But you can kind of work with this in, of course, each way that you want. You don't necessarily need to do this specific trio. It's just a trio that I'm enjoying. But again, Fire, Water, Grass is a really good one. Fantasy Core, Dragon, Fairy, Steel is a really good one as well. So you've got a whole bunch at you, and you've got so many Pokemon at your disposal. So I would definitely say experiment, see who you like, see who you don't like. You don't need to necessarily do a type triangle. It just makes it a lot better to help kind of deal with threats that one of your Pokemon can't really necessarily get away from. So another thing you can do is look out for alpha Pokemon. Alpha Pokemon are a really good way to help you excel in the rank ladder. The reason why I'm saying alpha Pokemon are really good is because whenever you catch an alpha Pokemon, you automatically get 252 HP as the EV spread. So I'm just going to move my face cam just so you can exactly see what I'm talking about here. So these are all Pokemon that I have just recently caught, except for Excadrill and Talonflame, which I've used in-game. I've not really used any other of these Pokemon. So for example, Gyarados, max HP. You've got Watchog, max HP as well. I've never used these Pokemon in my playthrough, so immediately when you catch an alpha, you automatically get 252 HP on all of them. It is absolutely insane. So for example, yeah, the Talonflame, which I've used in game, the EV spreads are a bit different, but still max HP. So this is really useful because not only do you have max HP straight out the gate, you're also quite strong. Like, you're quite bulky, you're quite strong. It's a really nice, unique way to get things going. And there are a lot of alpha Pokemon out there, and there are a lot of Pokemon that are not only alphas, but can mega evolve through alphas. So like Mega Gyarados. You can get a Mega Victory Bell now, which is also an alpha. You can get Mega Excadrill, which is also an alpha now. You've got all of these alphas that can go into Mega Evolution, that can do really good work and just get max HP straight out the gate. Now, for everybody who's thinking, oh, what should I do for EV spreads? What should I do for stuff like that? That normally comes, I would say, in the higher ranks. You don't necessarily, in the lower ranks, to at least get, you know, the Mega Stones for the Kalos trio at the beginning. You don't. For me, I just use my team that I use in the playthrough. I use things like, you know, I use like a Talonflame that I used in my playthrough, and again, the stat spread isn't really that good. The nature's not even that good. I use my Feraligatr, which, like, look at the stat spread on that. That's the Feraligatr I'm just using in my playthrough, but I'm still using my Feraligatr in the early ranks, and I still managed to get into rank K. So it doesn't really matter too much about the EV spread at the early stages, but if you want to do better, you can EV train your Pokemon. You can go that extra mile. I personally wouldn't say you need to. I think it's quite easy to do it without it. It's completely down to you. That's more so of a preference. Another thing I should note is that while the attacks and defense also matter deeply, again, for me, in my opinion, a lot of people might argue with me and say no. I don't think the speed is that much of an issue. The speed only matters of how fast the Pokemon can run in the free roam bit, when obviously you're trying to find an opponent's Pokemon and things like that, which isn't that bad. Of course, you want to get to your Pokemon quickly, and of course you want to retreat quickly. But again, you can kind of either go for a super fast Pokemon that can hit hard, or you can go for a Pokemon that can sit there, tank the bulk, and just kind of, you know, sit there for as long as you can. And remember, you can still switch out your Pokemon. You're allowed up to 3 switches per life, I guess. So it makes it a lot easier to kind of just pivot in and out when you need to, especially if they're bulky. You don't need to stress out too much. So you can either play right there into the fray and just switch out whenever you want to, up to 3 times, or you can play faster and be able to retreat whenever your Pokemon need exactly to retreat. Another thing that I would suggest is looking at the moveset. So the moveset is, again, very useful. So a lot of moves have changed because, again, we're not in a standard Pokemon game, so some moves might work a little bit differently. So, for example, something like Fire Spin off of my Chandelure doesn't exactly work the same way as it would previously. Instead it sets like a trap just in the middle of, say, the field, but it only works if your opponent's Pokemon goes into it. So if they run out of it, Fire Spin doesn't really do anything outside of that. You can go for some quirky things here and there, but realistically, there's not really too much you can do. So again, you can look at different movesets and go for it how you wish. So for example, something like a pivoting move like Volt Switch or U-Turn, realistically that would make the Pokemon retreat, but in terms of Legends ZA, that would just make your Pokemon do the attack and pivot straight back to you. So it's a nice way to kind of get things going. So again, this works for really, really good Pokemon like Talonflame. I believe something like Ampharos can get Volt Switch. So again, a lot of Pokemon that can work really fast, that can go in, quickly pick at damage and come back in case you need to switch out, can work wonders. So that's on the side of building your team. What do you do when you actually battle? What advice can I give you that can actually help you when you're inside an actual game? Well, there's a few things. The first thing that I would suggest when you actually start a game is think about who you want to go for. So of course, everybody starts out with their first Pokemon, and you can quickly take the first 2 seconds to quickly scan the field and see who exactly has a good type matchup against you and who you have a good type matchup against. Try and pivot away from the ones that you want to stay away from, and if there's anybody that you want to lock into, just go for that. Of course, you can use that to also pay attention to what Pokemon they actually bring. Again, you have no idea what your opponent has in the back. You only see their first Pokemon that they bring out. Everything after that, you have to adapt. So if you can force your opponent to make the switches and kind of see how you want to make the team work, you can even use your other opponents to kind of force them into a play that they don't want to be in. As I kind of touched on before, Mega Evolution is also really, really good. Mega Evolution is a really, really big factor as well. Of course, there's all these like Mega Crystals on the ground that you can pick up and get the charge up running faster, but that kind of like forces you to go out of play a little bit. You can kind of make the play where you can run into these Mega Crystals and play at the same time. But of course, again, if you want to set up charge for Mega Evolving and kind of sweep with Mega Evolving, you can do that. And of course, once you Mega Evolve, you can keep collecting these crystals to keep the charge going in case you're in a slow bit or in case you want to, you know, sit back and passively wait. You've got all of these factors for you. So again, you've got a lot of stuff there. Mega Evolution is really, really good. I wouldn't say Mega Evolution is the sole way to win, but it is a very, very nice way to kind of like get you in the forefront of the game. As well, like I said earlier as well, this is especially useful for alpha Pokemon since, again, they are a lot stronger, they are a lot, you know, more bulkier. So having a Mega Evolution that can survive really, really well is just absolutely insane. I've been seeing a lot of Mega Alpha Gyarados around, and it's really hard to take those things down. It is very, very hard to take those things down. So again, just see who you want to kind of mess around with. You don't exactly need Mega Evolution, but it does help you a very, very nice way. And for the last thing I want to say is the points. So when you're in the lower ranks, the points are really, really useful to get. I remember playing on stream and I ended up getting rank Z to rank U in just one game. It is not that difficult to rank up in the early levels at all. It measures up how well you play in that game. Sure, you get, I think it's like 30 points for first, 10 points for second. You get minus points when you reach third or fourth, but when you're in the lower ranks, it doesn't necessarily matter that much. It kind of just depends on how well you play. Do you Mega Evolve? You get extra points if you Mega Evolve first. You get extra points for, you know, taking out Mega Pokemon. You get more points for knowing your type matchups, for being more aggressive. You get all of these big factors here for playing more so just with knowledge in mind. But I hope this advice is a lot more useful to you. I hope that you guys can rank up super, super quickly. If you guys found this helpful, let me know by leaving a like down below. Seriously, guys, it helps me out so, so much. But of course, guys, I will see you all in the next video. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you all later. Okay, bye.